Welcome back to Rooted in Faith. My name is Ethan. Today we are talking about day 2 of Holy Week. That would have been roughly Monday or
That's
today.
correct.
Take it away, Nikki. What happened on day 2 of Holy Week?
So, day 2 is the clearing of the temple. And this can be read in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and John. So, Matthew, I'll read from this one. So, it's Matthew 21:12 through 22. And it's part of cleansing the temple. And Jesus went into the temple of God and cast out all them that sold and bought in the temple and overthrew the tables of the money changers and the seats of them that sold doves, and said unto them, It is written, My house shall be called the house of prayer, but ye have made it a den of thieves. And the blind and the lame came to him in the temple, and he healed them. And when the chief priests and scribes saw the wonderful things that he did, and the children crying in the temple, and saying, Hosanna to the Son of David, they were sore displeased. And said unto him, Hearest thou what these say? And Jesus saith unto them, Yea, have ye never read, Out of the mouth of babes and sucklings thou hast perfected praise? And he left them, and went out of the city into Bethany, and he lodged there.
All right, what's the next chapter and verse?
So Mark 11:12 through 19 kind of talks about the same thing. So I think what we're seeing is Jesus coming into the temple, and he is the high priest coming in to clear the temple. And so he's seeing that the other high priests in the temple have not taken care of the temple. They've allowed this commerce to happen inside the temple. They've allowed thieves and just basically non-temple things to be happening in the temple. And so as a high priest, he's coming in to clear it out.
So he's correcting.
Yeah.
At this point, he's cleansing. He's correcting. The temple has been defiled. It's no different than a marketplace. The Pharisees, the priests, have not done their job. So he's assuming the role of the high priest, who should be the steward of the temple,
Correct.
and he is correcting it.
Yeah.
Very
so John 2:13 through 17. And the Jews' Passover was at hand, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem, and found in the temple those that sold oxen and sheep and doves, and the changers of money sitting. And when he had made a scourge of small cords, he drove them all out of the temple, and the sheep and the oxen, and poured out the changers' money, and overthrew the tables. And said unto them that sold doves, Take these things hence, make not my Father's house an house of merchandise. And his disciples remembered it was written, The zeal of thine house hath eaten me up. So this one was interesting because he makes a scourge of small cords. And
A scourge being a whip.
yeah.
Okay. I wonder why they were selling doves in the temple.
That is interesting.
I don't recall seeing doves in many other places in the scriptures. And
except
sheep.
when he's baptized, a dove
We see
comes down.
the spirit of the Holy Spirit as a dove descended upon. But yeah, we see sheep, we see pigs, we see cattle and oxen, but not doves. But apparently they were selling doves in the temple. I don't know what they were used for. It's interesting.
Yeah, that'd be something to look up.
Yeah. But the whip part, I find that fascinating. It would have been it says a scourge of cords or a whip of cords. Now, what's interesting is, of course, these scriptures are not written in Hebrew; they're written in Greek. and I can't pronounce the Greek word. It looks like shoinyon or something, shionion or something like that. And that's the word for chords. And I was just diving into that. I translated that back into Hebrew. I wanted to see if there were any, maybe some cross references with Old Testament things, maybe prophecies, things having to do with whips or chords. And I didn't find anything particularly specific to this passage with Jesus having made a whip of cords and using it to drive people out of the temple. But I did find some interesting things. The word for cord in Hebrew is kevel or chevel. I don't know. I don't pronounce Hebrew, but it's kevel. It's spelled like chevel, Chevel. Cord, that's cord. Chords would be kevelim, Chevelim. The I am at the end of the word being the masculine plural of the word. So chevelim. So it's interesting that word is used in the Old Testament. It's found in multiple places, and it means cords or cord or rope or line. But there are some metaphoric ones that are interesting. And if you want to look it up, probably my favorite ones are going to be Psalm 116, verse 3. Would you look up Deuteronomy 32:9, Nikki?
Yeah.
That's the other one, Deuteronomy 32:9. We also have Psalm 16:6. But it's interesting when we use words, and Hebrew was very poetic. They were great at using different words to mean lots of different things depending on the context.
Which one? Deuteronomy what?
Deuteronomy 32:9.
32.
Yeah, go ahead and read that for us.
Okay.
And this is in the King James Version, so
Yeah.
if you guys are in the NIV or another version,
It'll
bear
probably
with us.
sound a little bit different, but for the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance.
So the word portion there in that verse is kevel. It's the word for cord, which is weird. It's definitely a metaphoric use of the word. So if we change that and we don't say portion, go ahead and read that, but instead of portion, use the word line.
For the Lord's line is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance.
Yeah, so
it's
like if we imagine a cord, rope, a line, a lineage. Exactly. So that's interesting, and lineage and line and cord, that all fits. And so I'm going to look forward to reading more verses and looking for more connections here, because it does seem, because there are some destruction type verses where it's the cords of death or the cords of destruction or things like that.
It seems like they're all kind of interconnected.
Yeah, but and these metaphoric verses. Would you look up Psalm for me?
Yeah.
Psalm 16:6. We're going to look these up, and then I'll stop ranting here. Psalm 16:6. But it seems like these verses are indicating something along the lines of a lineage and possibly a right or a privilege,
like a birthright.
Yeah,
almost.
And birthright, but also there's lines of authority as well, and
and he is coming in as a high priest into the temple to clear it.
That's
above
correct.
all other high priests
That's
that are
correct. there. And there's a lot of, it's very ambiguous as to what he made his cords out of. What did Jesus made a whip on the go in the temple. What did he use? Did he just grab any old thing? I like to not think he just grabbed anything. I like to think
Something
Jesus
with
whipped
purpose.
people and animals with something symbolic.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool. But I could not find any reference to
There wasn't
anything
a
to
lot.
give that away in the text. I'd have to probably do a lot more research, maybe look into the Apocrypha, look for other references. All I found was Kevel. But
So Psalm 16:6, the lines are fallen unto me in pleasant places. Yea, I have a goodly heritage. Wow, that really, like, if you're using line as lineage,
that one
it
ties it together
literally
really well.
ties it together. Yeah.
One more, Psalm 116:3. I forget what this one is, but and I'm sure there's more references here. There's some in Job I want to look into. There's some very suggestive verses in Job I want to look into where it's talking about being bound with the cords of affliction and things like that.
Job has a lot in there.
Job is nuts. I love Job.
The sorrows of death compassed me, and the pains of hell gat hold upon me. I found trouble and sorrow.
So pains there is hevel, or the cords. So it's the pangs of hell, the cords of hell got hold upon me. So maybe not quite lineage, but if we take those verses where we're talking about maybe lines of authority, privilege, and heritage, but also maybe destruction, cords of affliction, and we read the verses of Jesus making a whip on the go in the temple,
Yeah.
and then driving them out, saying, "You've turned my house into a den of thieves." It seems quite fitting, even though John is the only gospel that mentions the whip part. I think that's why I like the idea of it being symbolic. It's not in the other Gospels. It's only in John. And there's a lot of symbolism in John to be had there.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of symbolism, some of the prophecies that are fulfilled on Monday are from Isaiah 56:7, Jeremiah 7:11. So just for that one, in this house which is called by my name, become a den of robbers in your eyes. So it's a reference to the den of thieves and the condemnation of the temple corruption. And then Psalm 8:2, out of the mouth of babes and sucklings hast thou ordained strength. And this Jesus cites this when children praise him, and it fulfills prophecy of his divine truth through the innocent. So, and we talked about some of the Christian celebrations during Holy Week. For Monday, it's a little less prominent than obviously Palm Sunday, where you're waving the palm fronds.
I think we should make whips. I think
clear
that's a
the
great
temples
idea.
out.
I think it's a great idea.
It's house cleaning time.
House cleaning, and the patriarch of the house makes a whip. I think it's a great idea. Turn off your Xboxes, turn off your PlayStations.
It's time to clean.
People are going to
house.
get whipped. I think it's a great tradition.
So some of the traditions that happen are readings of the temple cleansing. Some churches hold services focusing on spiritual purification. So that might be something you do. You could do it at your house, spiritual purification. In Orthodox tradition, it's a day of reflection on Christ's authority.
Oh, interesting. So there's that authority again.
Yeah. Temple reverence, things like that. So.
Which I wonder, the word den of thieves. See, they never say it's the den of the Lord. It's always the house of the Lord. But when you switch it to a negative connotation of a thief or a robber, where do they live? They don't live in a house. They live in a den.
It seems
it's
kind
a
of
hideout.
like, yeah.
So when we think of
they're hiding.
Yeah, what kind of merchants were in the temple? Was this like a
slimy ones?
Well, I think more of like a racketeering.
Yeah.
Was this were these preferred merchants? Were these practices merchants being sold in the temple to avoid Roman influence? Were these things under I guess, under the control of the religious rule of the Pharisees or the Sadducees, where if I have power in the temple and I'm allowing merchants in there who are selling cattle and sheep and doves and whatever else, am I centralizing the sale of certain things in the temple, and now I've created a racket where it's pure corruption, of course, but
Definitely.
Jesus calls it a den of thieves. What are they stealing? What's the theft?
Well, I think it's the theft of real, true worship and knowledge and understanding, and they've corrupted the religion.
Well, I think back to maybe Martin Luther and the indulgences.
Yes.
That the practices of the Catholic Church.
Idolatry and
Yeah, when if you give blessings for sale, if you give, it's the indulgences. You've centralized things into the temple. You've allowed merchants in there to sell things. You're controlling it. What I think of is a racket selling indulgences, and they are thieves of righteous authority to the people. They are thieves of righteous leadership.
Yeah.
They're thieves of money to the people. If they're selling things with the stamp of the Spirit because they're doing it in the temple,
yeah.
I think that's what they've done.
Well, I just read something. Charging exorbitant rates for sacrificial animals.
So the sacrificial animals, maybe that's what they were.
Maybe
They
that's
were
one of the
selling
things
there.
they were selling is like, because they have to be of a certain quality, and so if they're selling those at high prices, I mean they have turned the temple into a marketplace.
That's fascinating. I think if you're to read these and study them, maybe take some of that into consideration. Maybe that's more what it is. They are the racket and the corruption and the theft is by gouging the people and centralizing the sale of these sacrificial animals on the temple grounds, and definitely overcharging the people, but misrepresenting the practice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
All the more reason to break out your whips. So
Yeah.
let us know. Send us pictures of what your whips look like. Let us know how you're using them,
Oh my gosh.
and address those to Nikki. And
No, please don't.
leave us some comments, like, share. Next up, what's the next day? Tuesday.
So Tuesday, and this is called the Day of Controversy and Parables.
Okay, that's going to be for tomorrow.
Yep.
So we'll see you tomorrow. Thank
See
you.
ya.